Well, welcome to AP Calculus. Before I get started on talking about what to expect in this course here, first go ahead and pat yourself on the back for making it this far. You're only a high school junior or high school senior, and you've already made it this far in your high school career. You're already moving on to calculus. Just think about just pause and think about the world as a whole, and think about if you were to take calculus, you wouldn't take it until college. And even then, very few people take calculus. So pat yourself on the back that you're one of the few people that's choosing to go this far in math. I will admit, though, you are going to have a very, very hard time coming up because this class is by far not easy. In my opinion, BC is the third hardest AP class there is in existence. And while AB is not in the top 5 hardest, I definitely think it's like 6 or 7. Both of these classes are very, very hard and very, very challenging. And my goal is to help you get through those courses, get through all the content that you need to know for the AP exam so you can score the grade that you want. As well as have fun for me in teaching you guys some calculus, because I sure as heck love math, and if there's any math I love, I have especially loved calculus. I've had such a love and such excitement for this class. So I cannot wait to be helping you guys through some AP Calculus. But let's go ahead and talk about something real quick. So you've noticed that you're either in if you're taking AP Calculus in the high school, you notice you're taking either AP Calculus AB. Oh my gosh, that's a little big. Let's start over. AB. You're taking AP Calculus AB, or you're taking AP Calculus, I'm not going to divide it like that, or you're taking AP Calculus BC. And you might have a question, well, what's the difference between AB and BC? Well, there's one difference between these two classes. Let's say that, it's about the content you cover. So basically BC, if this makes sense, BC does more math than AB. So, what do I mean by that? Well, both of these classes have the same amount of time. It takes the same amount of time to get through all the content. So, AB spends the same amount of time as BC to get through all their content that they need to cover before the AP exam. However, BC goes through more content than AB in that certain amount of time. So, for example, in this certain amount of time for AB, the AB class goes over X amount of content. The certain amount of content. AB goes over this certain amount of content, we're going to call it X, in this interval of time. BC, in this same interval of time, oh, that's a different color, my bad, let me get the color we had before. BC, in that same interval of time as AB, oh my gosh, in that same interval as AB, learns X amount of content plus another Y amount of content plus another, oh, that's a bad color, plus another Y amount of content. And actually, I'm not going to say Y. I always associate in my head, I always associate Y as a really big number. I'm just going to call it A. I'm just going to say that A is just it's just a little, it's not like BC goes over like 2 calculus classes in 1 year. They just go over one extra thing. So, like, for example, in calculus, you know, the big thing in calculus is everyone in calculus, their first class of calculus, learns derivatives. That's not how you spell derivatives. They learn derivatives. And they learn integrals. And I'm actually going to write that in purple. And you'll see why I'm going to write that in purple. Like, they always learn derivatives in their first calculus course, derivatives, which we will learn very quickly in our exploration of calculus, what derivatives are. And they also learn integrals. It's called differential calculus and integral calculus. This makes up the X amount of content that's in the AB class. That's all you learn the entire year. The rest of it is just application, which can be kind of hard for us to wrap our brains around, because in algebra we were learning factoring and logarithms and exponential functions and manipulating functions and on and on and on with all this new content, trigonometry in algebra 2. there's so much we learn that encompasses Algebra 2, whereas in calculus, you just learn 2 things the entire year. The thing with BC is they go over x, they go over derivatives and integrals, and at the very end they spend 1 extra unit on what's called series. And series is what makes up A. So they go over, and this is very very small in comparison. This is only like 1 unit, whereas it depends on the school you go to and what content the school uses, but this is like maybe around about 6-ish units. So it's really a substantial amount of content there, whereas BC is going over 1 extra unit, and they also pick up like a couple extra things here and there. They learn calculus, the vectors of calculus, the parametric equations of calculus, the polar equations of calculus. They go over like these little tiny things here and there, but it's not. So that's the difference between AB and BC. So that's kind of what if you want to know what we're going to look at in this course, we can even call it that. What we will look at squiggly line. If someone were to ask you, well, okay, what are we looking at in AP Calculus? You could tell them this. You could tell them, all right, we're all looking at derivatives and integrals, and if you're in BC, we're also looking at this thing called series. All of which you're going to get to learn as we go through this course together. So let's finally, what to expect of this. What to expect. What are you going to expect from this video series? Well, you should probably understand that... Oh, can we scroll, please? Scroll down to that. So this is going to be for Calculus A, B, and BC, because BC goes through the same content as AB. But if you're in AP Calculus AB, you don't have to watch BC videos. And here's how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to make a little video. Here's YouTube, little arrow. You can even color it white just for fun. I think that's white, and then its surrounding is red. Make a YouTube video, and if I make it a title, and the title says, it's blah, 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 the title, and then it says, in parentheses, BC only, that's your cue that you don't have to watch that video if you're in AB. So make sure you're looking at the video title so that you know if it's for a BC only content. You'll probably know that the last 15 or so videos will be 10-15 videos will be BC only content, because that's going to be the series unit. You don't have to watch the BC videos, and understand that this isn't in place of your class. So this isn't... Oh my gosh, that was horrible. This isn't in place of your teacher. I am not your calculus teacher. Your calculus teacher is your calculus teacher, and why am I saying this? Well, I'm going to only be going over the content that's needed on the AP exam, and I'm going to do it very, very quickly. So if there's basically what this resource should be is if you're taking the AP test and you're not sure on a certain topic and you want to review for the test, you could watch some or all of these videos so you could to help review for the AP exam. But also throughout the year, if you're having if there's this one topic that's really haunting you, you can go check out this video playlist and see if that topic is there. But it's not going to be in place of this. It's not going to be in place of your teacher. So make sure that you're following up with taking notes in class and making sure you understand the content in class, and then coming here if you need more help. And that is all I have on the AP Calculus AB and BC. I am very excited to go through this with you. As I said, we just learned derivatives and integrals the entire year. Except maybe you will learn a couple things like series if you're in BC. There's your BC happiness. If you're in BC, a very bad sigma. but you also learn some series. But I'm just really excited to do some calculus with you guys, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you really like the content that I create, be sure to find that red button at the bottom that says subscribe. I'm just going to write sub because I'm not going to write the whole thing out. But if you really like my content and you just want to support me, really, guys, the easiest way to just support me and that'll make me happy is if you just hit that subscribe button, because it's going to, the more subscribers I have, the more likely that this resource is going to land in the hands of people who need it. So if you really like my teaching and stuff like that, just hit the subscribe button and then more people will get to see it. Other than that, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys when we begin our calculus journey. Bye for now.